My mic is a little bit lower right now. There we go. Let's fix that. Welcome back to Conversations with June. This is day 21, which is weird to say, and also I said it like I'm an American. Welcome back to day 21. Now, let's try and do the same thing we did last time, where the idea just kind of fell out the hat. So, that actually worked out rather well. Let's put the hat down. Let's see what idea this is. I had a feeling it was gonna be this one today. I was like, just before I recorded, I was like, is it gonna be this one? I think it might be this one today. I think this is like maybe the last of the more serious topics. But unlike the other ones, this one will actually have music. So, idea number 7. Am I black enough or not black enough? So basically, the exploration of my race as a person. And like how it affects me. So, in a sense, technically, I'm not black enough because even though, okay. I'm mixed race, right? Or multiracial, whatever you want to call it. I'm mixed race, that's what I am. I am a mix of Zimbabwean, English, Portuguese, Italian, and Goanese, I believe. Obviously, the Zimbabwean is the part that's most weighted to, because that's where most of my family are from. But everything else I know is there either in grandparents or great-grandparents, so I count it. Otherwise, I don't know what else is in me. I know that there's like a whole other mix, like some of my dad is Dutch, I don't know. But, I know that there's a lot of mix of races within me. And I pride myself on that, even though, yeah, I am mostly Zimbabwean. But having to explain that to people, especially here, causes, like, you'd think it's weird to explain it to people in England, where there's a lot of mixed race, there's quite a few mixed race people, but whenever I say to someone, oh, I'm mixed race, they go, oh, so you're half black, half white then? Nope. Half black, half Asian? Nope. Not how that works. Sometimes mixed race is, no, there's multiple races in me, not just 2. And that causes its whole issue in itself, but because a lot of people don't quite get it, I just describe myself as black to other people. And yeah, I mean, I identify as black other than no, most of the time I identify as black because most of me is Zimbabwean, as I've said. But comparing that to other black people, perhaps people who have parents who have only ever been from, like, let's say Jamaica or the Caribbean, or, you know, like Nigeria, Uganda, Morocco, places like that. It kind of affects how that works out, because obviously, like, as you can tell, I'm a rather light-skinned boy, and that both has its perks and not has its perks. So on a usual level, right? On a usual the world is racist ass level, light-skinned black people or light-skinned brown people are considered to be more attractive than darker-skinned black people. The reason is because, you know, we're closer to looking white, so they're like, okay, so you're fine. You're just white enough that we're cool with you. I'm sure you may have heard of the brown paper bag test, which was that they would lift a brown paper bag to your skin, and if you were darker than it, you were considered unattractive and also too black. So that's not fun. But I'm saying that on the usual scale. But then, because I'm also a light-skinned black person, or a light-skinned mixed race person, trying to talk to other black people, they think there's like a prejudice in darker-skinned black people, that light-skinned black people are like way too up on themselves, and that's because they're light-skinned, so they're like not as prejudiced against, or they think that they're hot because a lot of light-skinned people are fetishized, and that's not cool. Like that's not what it is. And I feel bad because this school that I went to recently, I didn't know about how many black people were in it, because even though my acting course did not have a lot, it had more than you'd expect, but it still wasn't a lot. Like, if I remember, there were like 12 black people overall, maybe a little bit more, but like no more than 20. And this is a class of what, 75, I think? Which, you know, to be fair, isn't terrible, but also everyone else was white. So take that how you will. But then seeing, like, you know, knowing that there's music and art and all that other, and all the other subjects at my school, I didn't know how, like, what the population of black people were. I was kind of expecting to be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be stuck around white people again. Which, to be fair, by the end, I kind of was anyway. But, I only found out about how much black people were in the school when I walked into, basically the library of the school, and I saw pretty much every other black person sitting there talking to each other, except me. And I'm sure that that was just because, like, they had all ended up meeting through, like, I don't know, through, like, a party or whatever. And obviously I don't go to those. So that's probably why they all got real close, and I'm there being the excluded black person. I'm like, well, thanks for not making me feel like I'm accepted in my own culture. But that's not necessarily fair on them, because obviously I didn't exactly open myself up with that. Like, I wasn't exactly like, oh, you know, I feel excluded. And also because, like, when you say that, you come off as a bit of a prick. So I didn't want to say it. But I don't know, there's a whole thing about, like, do I act black enough? Do I say black things? Like, let's go with the N-word, for example, right? I have recently become more accustomed to using it. And that's because I've been hanging out with like, black people in America, who I spoke about in my friends thing, who used that word more than I did at the time that I first heard them using it. And because I've become more close to them, I started, like, picking up on that. Granted, that doesn't necessarily mean I like the word, but I will say I also know that it can have comedic effect, which is very, very good. But I don't know. There's this whole idea that I think kind of gets implanted in your brain both through media and other people, that there's a certain way that you have to act when you're black. Like, for example, I've started feeling like I'm not black enough because I'm not exactly caught up with, like, current music. For example, like, I don't really listen to, like, I don't fucking know who's on. I don't know who's popular right now. Do you think I care? Fucking, I don't know, like, okay, I'm allowed to say this because it's, even though this will date the day a little bit, like, XXXTentacion, right? He's died recently. He died a few days ago. I think a day or two ago, actually. He was found dead. And I never really listened to his music. I've listened to, like, 2 songs from him. But I'm seeing a whole lot of people being like, oh shit, he was real popular. And I'm like, okay. Then seeing a whole bunch of other stuff that he got up to, and I'm like, oh. But knowing that, like, someone like that is popular in music, I don't know that, because I don't listen to music that's being played right now. Mostly because A, I'm not really mostly looking for music, and B, because I'll be honest, the current sound of, like, rap or trap or whatever you want to fucking call it, I don't like that current sound. I think that it all sounds way too similar, which is why I listen to people like Kendrick and Childish Gambino and all that, because at least they at least sound different. Whereas, like, if you look at all the SoundCloud rappers, basically, they all sound the exact goddamn same to me. So I don't fuck with them. But I know a lot of people do. And that kind of excludes me in the sense of music sense, because I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Then saying that, there's a lot of stuff that I do as a person that is very black. Like, just casually in the way I act. There's something that one of my friends pointed out that I do that's very black, and that is, and I'm doing this because really, like, it's just because it's my personality, right? The entire point of this video is that it doesn't matter whether I feel like I'm black enough or not black enough. I'm still black on my own person, my race. As much as I'm in love with, this is gonna sound weird, as much as I'm in love with the race and the way that I am, and, like, the color of my skin, it does not define me as a person. Like, I am everything else about me first before I'm black, but that doesn't mean that, like, oh, ignore race. No. No. But, like, something that my friend pointed out to me was that, whenever somebody says something I think is bullshit, I always go low and I'm looking at them like, what the fuck are you talking about? And, you know how bullshit I think it is, because I get lower the more bullshit I think it is. Which I think is funny that he pointed that out to me, but that is a very, like, a black person thing of, like, the fuck? And I enjoyed that. But also, like, I guess a part of being black enough is that, I'm very quick to point out, like, stereotypes and systematic racism and shit. Like, I mean, I don't know, right? Because I'm friends with a lot of white people. Not necessarily out of choice. Well, kind of because of choice. I like them, but that doesn't mean, like, I wouldn't do well to have more black friends. Like, talking to them about stuff, when I say something because I'm like, ha ha ha, hey, by the way, I'm black, I know what this is like, they're looking at me and they're like, oh no, that's not how it is. Like, okay, the other day, right, and I was having a conversation with my sister on this. The other day, I was going to a friend's party, and I was traveling with, two of my friends. One of them was a white dude, the other one is a white, not a white girl, an Asian girl, sorry. Ooh, words are difficult. The other one was an Asian girl. And, we're walking down this road. Well, we get off the bus. My first thing is, I shouldn't be here. Because looking at this area, it's very pristine, it's very nice, it's very quiet. On a systematic level, I should not be there. Even though I'm not living there, I should not be there. Because the way that the system works, again, systematic racism, is that in those areas, there's not a wide black or non-white populace, basically. And when I said, oh, I don't belong here, and then we're walking down the road, and I'm like, wow, you can tell that white people live here. They're looking at me, and they're like, oh, come on, we're not living in the 60s, I'm sure there's at least one black family living here. I stayed quiet, but I don't know how to explain to basically white people, even though one of them was Asian, that systematic racism exists. And while, yeah, maybe the people on this road aren't racist, the road itself is going to be very white. And if we do find, like, if we knocked on every door on that road or in that area, and we found, like, a few black families, they would be the outliers and not the exception. And, like, they would be the outliers and not the rule, if that makes any sense. So, I don't know how to explain that to people. And it comes off as like, I'm very critical of the world. Which, to be fair, the world is shit. Like, even if you don't see it, right? Like, I live in England, right? And there's a lot of, like, I have a lot of American friends. There's a whole different ass issue in America where racism is very fucking blatant, right? So when we get to England, and I'm saying, oh, I'm black, I've experienced this, I've experienced that. They're like, oh, come on, we're not in the 60s anymore. It's not like we're living in America. Yeah, we're not in the 60s, and we're not America, but that doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist here. Yeah, maybe it's slightly better, but it's like, it's more so under wraps. We're not going around killing, like, yeah, there's not people entirely going around killing people because they're black or because they're Jewish or fucking whatever like it is in America, because Jesus Christ. Like, we don't have police officers necessarily shooting people to kill them. But that's because we don't have guns in England. So, if a police officer wanted to be racist, they can't kill the dude, but they can beat him the fuck up. They can arrest him falsely. That's what can happen. But you don't hear about that much because you assume that if someone's getting arrested, obviously they've done something wrong. But that's not necessarily the case. People are falsely accused all the goddamn time. And obviously that affects how I speak to people. Like, when I say it to other black people, they're like, oh, fucking true, fucking, like, understandable. But then, here, like, saying it to people who aren't black. And I'm saying people who aren't black because even though there are other people of color, right? No, like, having this conversation with the Asian girl in that conversation at the time made me realize, oh, it is different depending on the race you are. Like, if I explained systematic racism to a Latino in America, they'd understand because Latinos are fucking, like, they're fucking, what's the word, discriminated against, there we go. They're fucking discriminated against in America all the goddamn time. Get here, where granted, I don't think there's that big of a Latino populace, but if I tried to explain it to a Latino here, they wouldn't understand, because we don't have as big of a Latino populace. If we saw somebody here who is Mexican or Cuban or Brazilian or whatever, and I was like, hey, by the way, systematic racism, they'd probably just be like, the fuck are you talking about? Because they don't know. They wouldn't know. Because, basically, a lot of England doesn't know. But, then saying that, taking it to what I've seen with people who are, like, Middle Eastern Asian, so, like, brown Asian and not Southeast Asian, hearing the shit that they get called is a whole different level to what I would get called. But also, that doesn't mean that they don't get shit. But the funniest thing is, I've heard them get shit from other people of that race, and it's the same thing with me as well. Like, how do I explain this, right? So, here, I'm black, right? In England, I'm black. If I go to America, I'm black. If I go to a lot of the world, I'm black. If I went to Zimbabwe, or I went to South Africa, or I went to Africa in general, I'm not black, I'm colored, which is mixed race. That's the term that was used for mixed race. I didn't find it racist. I kind of found it racist at the start, because I was like, what? And I had to get it explained to me, like, oh no, that's the term here. That's the term that we use. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's the term that's being used. If I heard somebody call me colored here, and they weren't Zimbabwean or South African, I'd be like, the fuck? But knowing that, I'm like, okay, cool. There, in Africa, I'm colored, right? And black people and colored people in Zimbabwe do not like each other. Furthermore, colored people do not like other colored people in Zimbabwe. There's a lot of, like, colored people who would swear up and down to their last breath that they are black and that they hate coloreds. And that's what it is. And that's crazy ass wild to me. And that shows that there's such a fucking, like, difference in how people view their race and how other people view their race. Because, like, if that colored person went to a black person, went to a black, fully African, like, this is how we live kind of person, right? Which, to be fair, not saying that the colored people don't sound like, this is how we live, because that's just the accent that is there, right? And they said, no, I'm black, they're colored. That black person's gonna be like, okay, just like, alright then, believe what you want, you're wrong, but okay. And then, I don't know, probably pick on some other colored people, I don't fucking know. But I remember this because I was bullied at the first school I went to in Zimbabwe because I was colored, and everyone else is like black or fully black or whatever. Like I don't know Shona. I don't know that at all, which is the language of Zimbabwe. And I went to that school and like most of the people knew it, were speaking it, whatever. And we're in a like it's just before we get into a test, and some dude is like, fucking colored, I bet you think that you're better than all of us, but you're not. Fucking whatever. Making fun of my race, being racist on a deep ass level. And obviously me, being the tiny little angry child that I was, did not take that well. And we were in the middle of a test, and he was sitting next to me, and I'm doing the test, and he leans over and says something racist, and I punch him in the goddamn face, and it's a whole fucking situation. It's a whole situation. But I think that me as a person have been on this idea of am I black enough or not black enough for too fucking long, right? I'm black, I'm mixed race, I count myself as both. If somebody doesn't understand what mixed race is, I am black to them. If somebody understands what mixed race is, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm mixed race. Or like, if I'm saying, yes, I'm black, and people are like, okay, speak to me about race, I go, okay, pause for a second. Yes, I say I'm black, but on an actual ass level, I'm mixed race. I just count myself as black because most people don't understand that. That's what I say. Most people don't seem to understand what mixed race is for some reason. Most people think it's half caste, which, by the way, is not a good term to use. God. I had someone call me half-caste at my school, and then I heard another person from across the room be like, "You're not supposed to say that, that's racist!" And I'm like, I didn't even have to say anything. I just had to, like, when people call me half-caste, I'm not, like, pissed because I'm like, oh, that's racist. My brain's just like, oh, this explanation again. Which, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sure a lot of people who get called nigger on the streets of America or whatever don't even get pissed at it anymore. They're just like, oh, this again. Like, there's a whole situation about, like, how is a word used? How does it make it racist? However, saying that, as a black/mixed race person, don't say the N-word if you're not black or mixed with black. I do not care whether you are Indian, whether you are Latino, I don't care whether you are white, I do not care if you are Japanese, I don't care if you're fucking Trinidadian. Well, no, actually, that is... I was going on too much of a rant. I don't care if you're fucking Australian, let's go with that. Don't use the N-word if you are not black, right? Like, there's a flowchart. There's a flowchart on the internet of, like, can I say the N-word? Black or mixed with black? Do whatever the fuck you want. Use the word, don't use the word, whatever. In the end, if I'm hearing a black person use the N-word, it's not affecting me. Maybe I don't like the word that much, but it's not affecting me as a person. Whereas if I'm hearing non-black people say N-word and it's like, not black at all, and it's just, nope, not ever, not even if it's an A instead of a hard R, not even if you're singing, just don't fucking do it. Like, don't do it, just don't do it. It's the same thing with other words. Like, I'm not gonna hear people actively, like, well, I mean, I do, and it's homophobic, obviously, but I'm not gonna hear people go around calling each other faggot, right? Which is a word I don't like, and I know I just said it. I don't usually say it, but for the sake of this conversation, real quick, I'm gonna say it. Like, hearing people say that is a different situation to hearing the N-word, and that's not necessarily because I don't think that word is as bad. I don't like that word, but I know that currently, like, what has happened now is that a lot of people are starting to use it in a different way. Like the way that, like, a lot of LGBT people I've seen use that word are using it the same way that black people use the N-word. And that's fucking fine. You know what, do that, but if I hear someone who's not LGBT and I hear them say faggot, my brain's immediately like, wait, what? Why? Why do you have to do that? Same thing with, and I hate this one the most, like, I hate hearing non-black people say nigger, but I absolutely hate the word retarded. It is the worst, like, it's not the worst word, right? Like, obviously the N-word is technically the worst word because it's only ever existed to discriminate on black people until recently. But hearing that, I'm just like, oh, like, why? Can you not just call someone an idiot? Can you not just call them stupid? Why do you have to go so far as to call them retarded? Like, stop yourself. No one's used that word in years. Like, the last time I saw that word being used, right, was in fucking 2006. And then recently I'm hearing people say it again, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like this whole thing about, like, how does your identity affect how you see words, how you view certain words? Like, I could have a conversation with a white person today about, hey, don't use the N-word, there's a whole reason why you shouldn't use the N-word, like, but maybe they don't understand it, maybe they won't get it because they're like, oh, a word's just a word. Which is the worst thing I've ever heard. Never just say a word is a word, because obviously words have definitions, words have meaning, you little shitheads. This has gone off track. This has gone off track. This has stopped being about am I black enough or not black enough and just started going into general identity. But, which is kind of what this point was anyway, is like, hey, as a person, yes, I identify as black, yes, I identify as mixed race, but that doesn't mean that I should be expected to act in a specific way, right? I should not be expected to act black. I shouldn't be expected to be, like, using specific words or whatever. And, like, just, I will end this episode now with a quick story about, because I'm not like other black people, which means I don't, like, use specific words or whatever. I'm well spoken. I'm a very articulate black person. I noticed how many people don't see how black I am. Because we were in class listening to music. Someone put on, I don't know whether it was Childish Gambino or Kendrick Lamar or whatever, but it was some rap music. And I was like, oh, this is my jam, and I started singing along to it and doing whatever. And I had 2 different people, at 2 different times that this happened, both say, oh, wow, I never knew that you were into this kind of music. Like, wow, I didn't know that you were that black. And I'm like, yes, I am, in fact, a black person. That's how it works. Like, just, I don't know. Identity is a whole fucking thing. I'm proud of being black. A lot of people don't like being black. I don't get it. I like being black. Yeah, racism exists. But fucking listen, I'm currently not dead because I'm black. So I'm chill being black. The day that I get shanked or shot at for being black is the day I stop like being black. And until then, I'm cool. So I don't know. But that's where I'm going to end off this episode before I keep going on a rant about all kinds of words and identities. Thank you so very much for watching this. If you're mixed race, or if you have very race-specific topics and ideas and opinions that you want to share, please do open up a dialogue with me. I might call you a fucking idiot depending on what you say. And I'll be honest with you, this topic in particular will be the one where I say you're a fucking idiot to you. But if you have opinions, share them with me. Why not? Tell me what you think, because I'm intrigued. And I also kind of want to be like, okay, shut the fuck up a little bit. But yeah, that's this episode. Thank you so very much for watching. If you liked this, thank you very much. Hopefully there are other things on my channel you can enjoy. I hope you all have a very nice day, and I will see you tomorrow. So, see ya.